Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So today I'm bringing you a project for cutlery. So a couple of years ago I made this for my Christmas table to put cutlery in, and I'm still using them. I make sure everybody keeps it nice and clean and no gravy gets on them so that they can be reused. And this year we're having a Thanksgiving dinner, so I wanted to make some for Thanksgiving. So I have made these. And just to show you with cutlery in. So I have made these for my Thanksgiving dinner table. I wanted them to be sort of very autumnal and have lots of leaves and things. So gone a completely different style to that one. But I think they will look very nice. So stay tuned and I'll show you how I made them. So for our stamped background, we are using gorgeous leaves, and I'm using the 3 big leaves and then those little cluster of leaves as well. And I've picked out these lovely autumnal colours. So I've got Merry Merlot, Cajun Craze, Cinnamon Cider and Pumpkin Pie. And I've got my stamps all mounted, ready. Going to use the little one afterwards because that's to go around and fill in the spaces. So I'm going to open up my inks and get the stamps ready so that we can get the random stamping done, and it is very random. So I'm going to use this leaf with Merry Merlot, this one with Cajun Craze, and this one with the Cinnamon Cider. So let's get going. So I haven't done this for ages, sort of making my own DSP, and I do love it. So I am stamping in different ways. The leaves are all different sizes, so they do fit together really quite nicely. And we're going to be cut up and have decorations put on it. So there's a few bits there where I've not stamped properly, but I'm not bothered. Not bothered at all about that. So going over the sheet. I love this colour. It's such a long time since I've used Merry Merlot, but I do really like it. I remember when we first got it and I was like, oh, it's lush. So I might come back to that again. So got room to add these in. And then you've sort of got room here for the other shaped leaf. That's sort of what I was planning. Doesn't matter if they overlap a bit. And I like the leaves to be going in different directions. So now I'm going to come in with this one. I think these two colours are very similar, but it is, I think it works really nicely. And then we've got the pumpkin pie to come in, that sort of adds its own little splash of difference. Going to add some part leaves there. So not going to see too much of the edges, but I still want to put some in. And now now I'm going to use the pumpkin pie. So we've got all these little gaps, and that's perfect for the pumpkin pie. Which has 3 smaller versions of these bigger leaves, and they can just go in the gaps to fill them. So a lovely bit of DSP this, could use for other things. And of course this project could be done for different themes, could repeat it for Christmas using different stamps. But I wanted to go and try my hand at making something Thanksgiving. I just thought would look pretty. I might cut some leaves out and have them scattered along the table. I think that will look quite nice in these same colours. Could you cut all these out? So I think that's done. Just looking for where there's little gaps. And that could be it. Okay, so that's all of the stamping done. And then we just need to cut our sheet to 5.5 inches. And I've done it at 5.5 inches because I know that American size cardstock is 11.5 inches long. So to get 2 out of 1 sheet, it would have to be 5.5. So I thought about that because I thought my US followers, if they were going to make this, it's going to be them that are going to make it. I can't imagine many people in the UK or elsewhere in the world who have different sized paper would be wanting to make this. So then we've got a strip left over. And now these are 8.25. It would make no difference them being 8.5. So if you've got US paper, you don't need to cut it down to 8.25. 8.5 will work beautifully. Okay, so there's the half sheet panel that we need. And so now we need to do some scoring. So we are going to score on the short side at 1 inch, 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches, and 4. We'll have all these measurements over on nigezza.co.uk, and then we're going to score on the long side just at the 1/2 inch, and that's that. So now we need to fold and burnish all of these score lines. And this is just ordinary very vanilla. I'm not sure if I've already said that. Could do thick if you wanted, but I felt the ordinary was enough. There we go. And we want to cut this section out here. So using the trimmer, not the end where you've got the 1/2 inch score line, but the other end, put it at 1 inch, and we're going to cut from the first score line to the last score line. Okay, so we're going to cut from 1 inch down to the 4 inch mark. Like so. Didn't quite do that at the top. Glasses help. And then we are going to cut just down the inside of that score line and down the inside of that one, and I'll just cut up where that didn't meet. So we've got that, and then we're just going to cut up all the score lines, just straight up all the score lines on the bottom, and then these little squares you can notch, or you can just go up the other side of the score line and then just take these out. So just take out the sliver of a score line. Okay, so that's the basis of our cutlery holder. So we're going to put the short bit over the longer bit on the back. So we want some glue to go all the way along the edge. Could use your tear and tape or Stampin' Seal Plus, or as I'm using, Tombow. You want it to be strong glue. So you want to fold it, not do what I was just about to do. So you want to fold that one over so it's the furthest of the, you know, the last score line, and this one over on the second score line, and then that's how you get like the middle section. There we go. So that's that, and then at the bottom we are going to, we want this one, this is the front, so we want this one to go in, then we want those to go down. So I like to sandwich my flaps. You don't have to, but that's just the way I do it. So I put a little blob on there to hold my flaps down, and then I just go around all the way around the edges of the end there. And that's our little holder. So that's looking a little bit ugly there, so we want that covered. So one of the half sheets I had, I cut 2-inch strips all the way down, so you'd get four going 2-inch that way, and then I cut them in half. So this is one that I have been using. So cut myself a 2-inch strip, because this is 2 inches wide, and then I cut it in half. Doesn't have to be precise. So that is how I found the middle. So we've got a little section like that, and then we're going to take the delightful tag topper punch. You can use any topper that you want. Decide which one you want. We're going to insert it in there, so decide what you want to be at the top. I think I want that to be at the top. So just feed this down and punch. So that is going to get stuck in there. Now it depends on the size of your knife as to how tall you want it. So I took my knife and I put it in, and I sort of decided where I wanted it. So I want it about there, so that the tip of the knife is at that hole. So on the back side, that is where the glue needs to be from my thumbnail down. So it depends on the size of the cutlery that you're using as to how you're going to fit this. So I just go down, and then, yeah, it doesn't look too pretty on the back, but it doesn't matter. It's absolutely fine. It's going to be face down on the table. So that goes down a little bit in there, giving it a very nice effect. So now we've got the fun of decorating. So to decorate this, I used, I had cut out a Thanksgiving because I wasn't sure if I was going to use it. So I've used the 6x6 paper stacks for this. So I've done 3 in Merry Merlot. So you get 2 inches. You get 3 strips out of each of these. So I cut them at 3. Now, I've done 3 in Merry Merlot. I think I might change up the colours for the others. Why not? Let's be reckless. I think I'm going to go with Cajun Craze for the other one. Cajun Craze being a regal. Let's find my regals. There's my regals. So let's get some Cajun Craze out here. There we are. And then I'm going to change the colours on the die cuts, I think, as well. So then we can see some different colours, and you can see what it looks like in other colours. So I'm going to cut this. Cut myself a 2-inch strip. And then to get these edges, I just wanted the top and the bottom to be covered. I just thought that would finish it off nicely. So I've got this lovely scalloped stitched die, which comes from not that packet. Comes from the penned flower dies. You get this lovely border, and to be fair, that's the main reason for buying it. So got a bit of washi on it, and what I did was I just put it right at the edge of the bit of paper and then die cut it. So if I show you on my little mini cutter, because it'll go nicely in my little mini. So going to put it slightly at an angle because I don't like them to go in straight. So I've put the edge of the die at the edge of a bit of paper. So what this does is two things. It cuts the border that I want to go round the top of my cutlery holder, and it also leaves a very nice scalloped border for the centerpiece. So we've got a nice border there. So then we do exactly the same thing on the other side. So we turn it around, place the border at the edge of the DSP, using our washi tape to hold it in place, get our sandwich, it's moved, the washi is now getting tired. Let's put another piece on there because I've cut so many sheets. There we go. So that's our centre bit, and there's our border. And whilst we've got the die cutter, for the centerpieces, I used the sunflower dies, and I used the two little like corn bits on the sunflower dies. Now on this one, because I used Merry Merlot to go around it, I cut it out of Cajun Craze and cinnamon cider. So in this one I'm going to do cinnamon cider and Merry Merlot. So just one of each. So I've got some cinnamon cider here that I can cut out. So I did the double one in the cinnamon cider. Again, I'm using a bit of washi so it doesn't go all over the place. You could use any sort of foliage that you wanted. I just quite liked the look of these. I thought they made me think of sort of harvest sort of time. And yeah, That was why I went for that. And then I've got a bit of Merry Merlot to do the single one. This is the one that I did the Thanksgiving out of, and then I decided not to use it. Just gonna cut that off. There we go. Stick that in there. I think I might have shook you doing that. I do apologise. There we go. Get that out of the way. That's my die cutting done. So let's get ourselves back again. So we've got our die cuts all ready for our decorating. So I placed this on the top and just pinched it round. Pinched it round there, pinched it round there, and then using my bone folder, give it a nice crease and make sure that it's straight. That one's not very straight, which is why we do this. And then we're just going to snip off the end there and on that side to neaten it up. And then using Tombow again, we're just going to put little blobs along here. Hold it in place. Do you know, every time I use Cajun Craze, I think, oh, how much I like the colour. And I really don't use it very often. But it is great for these autumn themed projects. There we go. So just putting it on the edge and then folding it round. Tombow does dry nice and quickly, so it is good for this sort of thing. And then we'll just put that round the back to finish off. And I just think that finishes it off beautifully. And we'll do exactly the same with this one. You could, I just had a thought, you could put people's names on this so it like acts as a nameplate as well. But listening to Finn last night talking about Thanksgiving, does seem like it is sort of a real sort of nice sort of special occasion and a lovely meal. So I think dressing the table makes it even more special. And I've got a friend who lives in New York, and he every year, he's English, married American, he puts his pictures of his Thanksgiving dinners on, and they do look amazing. A little bit like our Christmas dinners. But a cheaper occasion, because you've not got all them presents. So, yeah, so we're very excited. go. I, of course, won't be eating turkey. I am a vegetarian. But I'll have a nut roast, as I do on Christmas Day. There we go. And actually everybody loves my nut roast. And so I have to make like a massive amount. And my sons eat it like you would stuffing. And they do prefer it to stuffing. Finn's not experienced my nut roast yet, but he will. There we go. So that's that. And then we do exactly the same for this one. And what I sort of try to do is sort of line up a scallop on the edge there. Give it a pinch. A pinch at the back. Same on that side. And around the back. And then one thing I forgot to do is I kind of cut the ends so they are the same size as the other peaks. And then we'll crease these like we did before. There we go. And then, as we did before, just put some glue all around these. To hold it in place. And I just sort of eyeballed it. And as I'm going to have half of them in Cajun Craze and half in Merry Merlot, I'll like alternate them around the table. I think that'll look nice. And then we're going to put our little sprigs on the top. And then I'm hoping, I made some Christmas ones a few years ago and actually they've survived. I've used them several years now and they have lived to serve another year. So I'm not sure if I've used them 2 years or 3 years. I think this year I might make some New Year ones as well. We've got guests for New Year and Christmas, which is great after last year. There we go. So that's that. So then we just need the ribbon around the centre, and then I put a bit of ribbon at the top, which is why I went for the tag topper, so it gives it an extra little bit of something. So that is done with this diamond weave ribbon, which I thought was really nice, sort of rustic looking, went well with the theme. And then this ribbon is our crinkled seam binding, and I coloured it with a bronzer. So I don't have the cinnamon cider, the Cajun craze, or the Merry Merlot blend. I do have, however, the pumpkin pie one, but I'm going with this. I could change the colour to pumpkin pie now, but I'm not going to. So I just need to colour a bit more of the ribbon because that's not enough. So good uses for old catalogues. So it colours really well, and because these are alcohol, they dry really quickly as well. That'll be enough. More than enough, Jez, actually. I think you will find. So, got that. So what I've done is I've threaded it through the diamond bits of this ribbon. So I'm just taking the ribbon round. I'm going to cut there. Cut it there. And then I'm going to weave that in and out. Now, the easiest way I find to weave it is to use a big needle. So I have these for bookbinding. Big darning needle would work, or you can just poke it. But this is much, much quicker because it's got a big eye. You can thread the ribbon through, no problem. Okay, I haven't cut it off the reel. And then I'm just going in one diamond and out the other. In and out, all the way to the end. That one's broke, so it doesn't really matter. And then we just pull it down, and that's the ribbon taken through. Okay. Take my needle off, and then I just pull it along to the end, so I know where to cut. So that was so much quicker than when I was going in and out and in and out with a little pokey tool. But I didn't use the pokey tool, I used the scorer because the pokey tool would have just poked holes in the ribbon. So that's that. Done. Now I have fabric glue, but you don't have to use fabric glue to stick this down. It can be stuck down with Tombow as well. So decide which side you like the look of best. I think that side actually, so I'm going to put my glue on this side. So going to put a bit of glue on each of the woven bits. And then a bit on these ribbons. The other side of these bits of ribbon are more woven bits, so it won't show through. And then push that down to hold in place. Now a couple of years ago we had burlap ribbon, which I think I used on my Christmas ones, and that would be perfect as well. So that was stuck to my finger. So if you have some of that, you could use that. I think anything that's sort of slightly sort of rusticy looking would be nice. And then we just go over to the back and overlap it a bit. And then we just need to hold it in place. I think because it's fabric, it takes a little bit longer to hold. But the Tombow does hold it eventually. And you don't see it because you've got two layers you would see it, I think, through the seam binding if the seam binding was on its own. But because it's got this as well, you don't notice it. So this, we just want a little bit of this to go in the top. So I'm just folding it over to about the size I want it. I want it about there. So just gonna cut a bit off. And I'll just poke that through the hole. That's about where we want it. I like to take a little glue dot to secure it in place. It makes tying the bow around it much easier as well. So I like to do it slightly at an angle. There we go. And then we take our ribbon that we've coloured and we're going to tie a bow. So we want the bow to fit that way, so I'm going to secure the knot at 90 degrees to that. There we go, and now we can do our loop-de-loops. Oh, I'm doing this backwards. I can't do it that way. Do the loop-de-loop that way. Now that feels wrong. I was right in the first place. It was just the ribbon was on that side, so it was forcing me to go at an awkward angle, and it didn't feel right. There we go. And then we just pull this. Okay, so then I'm just going to cut my tails and then cut the top tails. So I sort of cut them where you've got the bit that's weaved and not the bit that's open, because if you cut near the open diamond bit, it will just unravel. And so there you go. You can put your knife in, your spoon in, and your fork in, all ready for your Thanksgiving dinner table. So there they all are finished. So we might possibly have a sixth guest, in which case I'll quickly make another one. But we have 5 most definitely. So I think they'll look lovely. And as I say, I'm probably going to make some of these leaves to just sort of scatter over the table as well, and maybe scatter a few little Thanksgiving die cuts as well. So hope you like that. All the details will be over on nigezza.co.uk. I'll link down below to all the products that I have used if you wish to buy anything. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.